Today, we're going to dive into a piece of tech you see all the time, but probably don't think twice about. It's the unsung hero that secretly protects the heart of the world's most powerful machines.
So let's just start with a question. What could a massive, modern diesel engine possibly have in common with the human body? I mean, they seem like total opposites, right? One is all steel and fire. The other is, us.
Well, the answer is actually pretty simple. They both rely on incredibly sophisticated filtration just to survive. Seriously, without it, they'd both grind to a halt. And for that engine, the filtration system is the only line of defense against a constant attack from invisible enemies.
To really understand our hero, we first have to understand the battlefield. And trust me, the inside of a modern engine is one of the most extreme environments you can imagine.
You see, today's diesel engines are absolute marvels of engineering, but wow, are they under pressure. They're running at way higher temperatures than they used to. The systems that reduce emissions, well, they actually create more soot and acid inside the oil. We're using new fuels like biodiesel that bring their own set of challenges. And maybe most important of all, the components inside have tighter and more precise tolerances than ever, which makes them super sensitive to any kind of contamination.
So, with this incredibly hostile environment as our backdrop, who are the villains in our story? What is this filtration system actually fighting against day in and day out? Well, let me introduce you to the invaders. They are microscopic, they are relentless, and they can get into an engine's fuel and oil from just about anywhere, from the big storage tank all the way to the fuel pump on the vehicle itself. First up, you've got hard particulates and debris. Think of them like liquid sandpaper, just grinding away at super precise parts like fuel injectors. Then there's water, the silent killer that causes rust and corrosion and actually makes fuel less slippery, which is a huge problem. In cold weather, wax crystals can form and completely clog a filter in minutes. And get this, wherever you have fuel and water touching, microbes can actually grow and create this nasty sludge that just gums up the whole system.
And look, this isn't some small, minor issue. According to a major equipment manufacturer, over 90% of all fuel injection problems are caused by those two simple things, dirt and water. That number is just staggering, and it really shows you how absolutely critical filtration is.
And to really wrap your head around this, just think about the scale we're dealing with here. A single human hair is about 80 microns thick. A white blood cell in your body? About 25. The harmful particles we need to stop can be as small as 2 microns. We are fighting a war against an enemy that is literally invisible to the naked eye.
So, how do you fight an invisible enemy? Well, you don't do it with a single soldier. You do it with a coordinated system of guardians, where each one is designed to take on a very specific threat.
An engine's defense is a total team effort. You've got the lube filter, your oil filter, that's constantly battling soot, acid, and tiny metal particles from all that wear and tear. The fuel filter is on the front lines, taking out particulates and water before they can ever get to the injectors. And yeah, even your coolant has a filter, making sure the cooling system's chemistry stays balanced to prevent corrosion. Together they form a complete shield around the engine.
Okay, so that's the big picture. That's the what. But what about the how? How is a simple-looking canister actually engineered to win a microscopic battle? Come on, let's zoom in.
All right, let's crack one of these things open. When you deconstruct the typical spin-on filter, you'll see that every single piece is designed for strength and for performance.
It all starts with the heavy-duty housing. That steel can is built to handle insane pressure pulses without failing. Then you have the baffle plate and the seals. They create a perfect leak-proof connection to the engine. That louvered center tube on the inside, it provides all the structural support while letting the maximum amount of fluid flow through. And then, at the very heart of it all is the filter media. This is where the real fight happens.
And this is a perfect example of how a tiny design detail can have huge consequences. See, some filters use a center tube with just simple punched holes, but those sharp edges can actually tear the filter media when it flexes. And if that happens, dirty fluid just bypasses the filter completely. That louver design, though, it's smooth. It protects the media, it's stronger, and it gives more area for the fluid to flow through. It's just better engineering.
Okay, now let's zoom in one last time, right down to the most critical component of this whole thing, the filter media. And believe me, this is not just paper. It's a high-tech, microscopic labyrinth.
For years, filters used a simple cellulose media. It's basically a highly specialized paper, and it's fine for catching larger particles. But modern engines, they need more. So advanced synthetic media uses multiple engineered layers. This lets it trap much finer particles, and it can even separate water out of the fuel, all while holding a lot more gunk before it ever gets clogged.
3 microns. Just let that number sink in for a second. 3. microns.
That is the size of the most harmful particles that we have to protect modern high-pressure fuel systems from. That synthetic media we just saw is engineered to consistently stop contaminants that are less than half the size of a single red blood cell. It's almost unbelievable.
So, okay, we've seen the brutal environment, we've met the microscopic villains, and we've taken apart the high-tech guardian that's built to fight them. But what does this all actually mean in the real world? Why does any of this matter?
Well, the payoff is huge. Using the right kind of advanced filtration means less unexpected downtime. It means fewer eye-watering repair bills for things like injectors and pumps. And by keeping the engine running clean and efficient, it can actually reduce how much fuel you burn. The bottom line? It prolongs the life of the entire engine, protecting what is usually a massive financial investment.
So, I'll leave you with this thought. The next time you see a filter sitting on a shelf, or you're watching one get changed on a truck, are you going to see it as just a cheap, disposable part? Or will you see it for what it truly is, a silent, high-tech hero standing guard inside that engine?